Midnight never forgets its witness. Hey, night listener, tonight we enter the shadows, the kind that stretch like bruises under a full moon, the kind that whisper when the wind forgets its way home. It's raining in pulses now, fat droplets tapping on the tin roof, slicking the road behind you, erasing tire tracks like the past never happened. But you know better, don't you? The woods don't forget, and neither does the earth. The trees lean in like jurors at the moment of verdict. Every branch drips with memory. If this story found you, maybe it's because you've been followed too. So, before we vanish into this mystery, like the video and subscribe only if you can handle the truth buried beneath the lies. Tell me where you're listening from and whether it's the truth, the thrill, or the justice that brought you here. Now, lock your doors, take a deep breath, and follow me into the dark. You don't plan to return to the cabin, but the letter didn't give you a choice. It came in the kind of envelope you've only seen in flashbacks, gray and soft at the edges, like it had traveled through someone's memory instead of the mail. No return address, just your name. Inside one sentence, written in block letters, something's moving under the floorboards. That's all. No signature, no threat, just that and the postmark, 3 days ago. But the cabin hasn't had a mailbox for 13 years. You drive up through the woods anyway. The road's worse than you remember, ruts like old scars, branches hanging low like they're ashamed to be here. But you recognize every turn, every curve, every mistake. You park exactly where you did the night it happened. Rain taps on the hood, soft but constant, like fingernails. You step out. The air smells the same, wet pine, old smoke, and that metallic sting that only comes when something knows you're watching. The porch groans under your boots, but it's the light that stops you. The porch light, still working, still on. You didn't leave it that way. You haven't been back since you buried the lockbox. You hesitate before touching the doorknob. It's warm, like someone just left. The keys still under the flower pot. Same rust, same lie. You open the door and step into the past. It smells like mildew, dust, and something else, like pages that were never meant to be turned. Inside, nothing's moved. The same mismatched chairs, the same coffee mug with the crack down the handle, the same photograph of you and Ethan, back when the world was still rehearsing its worst scene. You walk to the fireplace. The loose board is still there, just left of the hearth. You kneel, pry it up, and listen. At first, nothing, then scratching, soft, erratic, like fingers on wood. You shine your flashlight into the crawl space. Something's there, not visible, but moving. You reach in. Your hand grazes something metallic. You pull. It's the lockbox, still locked, still cold, but coated now with muddy fingerprints. Not yours. Too small, too fresh. You stare at it because you remember what's inside, and you remember what's missing from it. You knew, but pretended you didn't. You rise, set the box on the table, and take a breath that doesn't feel like yours. Then you hear it. A second breath, not yours either. You spin, but there's nothing, just the sound of rain and the porch light still on. Everyone lies, especially the ones who swear the past can't find them again. Her ring wasn't on her finger. The lockbox still hums with weight. You don't need to open it to feel what's inside. The memories are dense, coiled like a spring, just waiting to snap through your hands. You carry it to the sink, not sure why. Maybe because the faucet makes noise, and you need that now. The silence is too fluent in your voice. You set it down. It makes a sound that doesn't match its weight. Not a thud, A click, like something inside just shifted. You glance out the window. The rain hasn't stopped. But in the garden, something moves just enough to send a shiver through the hedge line. You head out, feet sinking into soft mud. You don't remember planting anything out here. Not really. Maybe some herbs Ethan said would grow wild. Basil, rosemary, something hopeful. But now something darker blooms. A ring of disturbed soil, circular, fresh, not like a shovel strike, more like something rose. You kneel, fingers cold and unsure, and then you see it. A glint of gold. You dig, not deep. It's right there. The object is delicate, ornate. A ring, one you haven't seen in years. Her ring. You hold it up, and the rain washes away the dirt in fine rivulets, revealing the tiny engraving inside till the silence ends. Your breath catches, because that line was private. Something whispered the night she left, the night she said she knew. You were drunk. She wasn't. She asked if it was true, if you did what they said. You didn't answer. You looked at the floor, and she said, "Silence is a choice too." The next day, she was gone. A year later, she was declared missing. You knew, but pretended you didn't. You pocket the ring and glance back at the cabin. The porch light's still on, but now the front door is open. Just a few inches. You walk back a hackle quickly. Not running. Not yet. Inside. The box is still on the counter, but now it's open, and beside it, something new. A white glove, lying flat, palm up, still damp. A red thread sewn through the wrist seam, and inside the glove, a photograph, black and white, old. It shows the garden, your garden, the one out back. But in the photo, it's not just dirt and weeds. It's her, kneeling, digging, smiling. Behind her, you stand in the doorway, arms crossed, face blurred. A handwritten note on the back. She was always better at finding things than you. Your hand trembles, but the glove doesn't fall. The silence in the house grows heavy again, like it's remembering something you've tried to forget. You drop the photo because you realize something. The dirt on the ring, still moist. It hadn't been buried long, and someone wanted you to find it now. Everyone lies, especially the ones who bury the past in neat circles and call it closure. The basement floor didn't stay poured. You wait for daylight, but it never comes. Just a sky the color of bruised paper and clouds that press down like guilt. The cabin doesn't warm, even with the fireplace lit. The logs hiss like they've been soaked in regret. You stand above the basement door. You haven't opened it in over a decade. Ethan had it sealed. Back when you still told yourselves the past could be concreted over, said it wasn't safe, said it flooded too easily. But you remember the real reason. You remember what you left down there and what you poured on top of it. You pry the nails from the old plywood sheet. Each one pulls free like it was just waiting for the invitation. The trapdoor yawns open. A wave of damp, cold air exhales upward. You descend with a flashlight that flickers like it's nervous. The air smells wrong, moist and metallic, like wet coins in an old pocket. You knew what you'd find, but not like this. The concrete floor is cracked, hairline at first, then more veins of pressure spidering out from the center. And in the middle, a hole, a dug-up hole, wide enough for a person, deep enough for memory. You crouch. The dirt is loose. No shovel marks, just raw disruption, like something forced its way up. You lower the flashlight into the cavity. Something glints. You reach in, pull out a key brass, old, inscribed with a symbol you don't recognize, but the tag attached to it is unmistakable. Room 209, Branton Motel. That motel doesn't exist anymore. It burned, or at least it was supposed to. You saw the fire. You were there before it started. You still smell the smoke when you think too long. You turn the key over. More writing, etched in small, sharp letters. You left her behind, but she remembered the door. You rise too fast, nearly falling back. Something behind you shifts. You spin around. On the shelf near the far wall, right where you'd stored the old paint cans, is a photograph in a plastic sleeve. Another one, still black and white, still blurry, but this time it's you, standing on the motel balcony, looking down, and below her, face turned upward, a white glove on one hand. You never saw that moment. You swear you weren't there when that photo was taken, but you're in it. You knew, but pretended you didn't. Your heart's beating too loud now. It muffles the creaks of the house, but not the next sound. A clock, ticking, soft, measured, not from a watch, not from the wall, from under the stairs. You step carefully, flashlight up. The noise stops, and on the final step, resting like it's been waiting, is a watch, familiar, cracked, still ticking. It stopped years ago at 4:09, but now it reads 4:12. You pick it up. It's warm. Everyone lies, especially the ones who swear time heals what the ground refuses to keep buried. The photograph that shouldn't exist. You carry the watch upstairs like it might go off again, like a bomb, like a heartbeat not your own. It ticks quietly in your palm, as if mocking the lie you told about where you were at 4:12. The kitchen window sweats condensation. On the table, the open lockbox, the damp glove, the ring, and now the photo from the basement joins the growing shrine to contradiction. You set the watch beside it, then pause, because something is tucked into the photo sleeve you missed before. A second image, you pull it out and nearly drop it, because it's you again, standing in your backyard. Today, same coat, same boots, same rain. The angle is impossible. It's taken from above, from the tree line. In the photo, you're looking down at the very spot you found the ring. The timestamp in the corner also around 2:43 a.m. Exactly when the phone buzzed with no signal. You flip the photo. Writing, not ink. Something scratched into the glossy surface. It was never about what you buried. It's about what followed you home. You suddenly feel the weight of the cabin press against you. The walls no longer keep the past out, they're soaked in it. You stare at the front door, then the side one. You check the locks, all secure, but the back door unlatched, slightly ajar. Wind whispers through it with a sound like someone trying not to speak. You step onto the back porch. The rain has slowed, but the ground is scarred. Mud tracks, footprints leading away from the ring site. Barefoot and small, they head toward the trees. You follow. The woods aren't quiet, they're listening. Each branch overhead like a jury's gavel, waiting for you to lie again. You move carefully, flashlight beam trembling with each step, and then you find it. A cloth bundle, tucked between two tree roots like a forgotten offering. Inside Polaroids, dozens, all of the same room. A motel, room 209, same angle, over and over. Each frame captures a moment just before something happens. Shadows moving, curtains rustling, a shape just out of view. And in one, you see her hand, just the fingertips, white glove, red thread. On the edge of the frame, you knew, but pretended you didn't. You gather the photos, tucking them under your coat. As you turn back, something catches in the beam. A mirror, nailed to a tree, fractured, but intact enough to catch your reflection. Only you're not standing alone. Behind you, a blur, a woman's figure, face unreadable. You spin, nothing but the glove, still damp in your pocket. You head back toward the cabin, faster now. As you approach the door, you see the watch on the table, still ticking, only it now reads 4:09, backwards, rewinding, like it's trying to undo the minute you tried to forget. Everyone lies, especially the ones who think photographs only capture what's in front of the lens. The voice that signed your name. You slam the door behind you, not out of fear, but necessity. To keep the house in, or keep the woods out. You're not sure anymore which holds the greater threat. The air inside is warmer than before, unnaturally so, like breath you didn't take. You walk to the table, set the photos down beside the ring and the watch, your own private crime scene, reassembled artifact by artifact. Then you hear it, a voice, yours, coming from the answering machine. You didn't even realize it still worked. You press play, and the tape begins to spin. The voice is low, deliberate, tired. Detective Warren, I've reviewed the motel footage. Room 209 confirms presence. Timestamp 4:12 a.m. Subject female. Gloves on. You were right to bury it, but the silence won't hold. You freeze. You haven't gone by that name in over a decade. Warren was your badge name, the one you signed when the report vanished. The voice continues. She never left the motel. Only the story did. Then a pause. Then you signed the confession. Before it was written, click. The machine winds down. You press stop, then rewind. Hit play again. The message is gone, replaced by static. You rewind once more. This time it says nothing, just silence. You check the tape inside. There's no tape. The machine hasn't been plugged in for years. You knew, but pretended you didn't. You walk to the closet, the one near the front hall. It used to be empty. Now it holds a shoebox. Inside, newspaper clippings. The first headline, Branton Motel fire under investigation. One victim, unidentified. You remember the blaze. Remember the night you watched from the trees. The way the flames seemed to know what they were consuming. Another article. Detective resigns following missing evidence report. Your name is redacted in black ink, but the signature underneath, Warren. It's your writing, and beside it, written in red pen, the past doesn't need a return address, just a voice to echo through the silence. You close the box, turn toward the fireplace. The glove is gone. So is the lockbox. In its place, a cassette, labeled only Play Me. You don't own a tape player, but the recorder on your bookshelf, a relic from your earliest interrogations, still works. You slot it in, press play. The sound is grainy, but the voice is clear. Her. This is my statement. I wasn't supposed to remember, but the silence cracked. You told me not to speak, so I wrote it down in your name instead. Then a beat, a shift. Ask yourself, Warren, who would dig something up and bury it again? The tape ends. You look down. Your hands are covered in dirt. Your boots soaked. And in your coat pocket, something new. A shard of mirror, still slick with rain. Not from your house, not from today. And when you hold it up, the reflection doesn't blink when you do. Everyone lies, especially the ones who signed the truth with someone else's voice. The dog refused to leave the spot. You never liked dogs. Too honest, too alert. They see what people pretend isn't there. So when the mutt appears on your porch the next morning, mud-caked and motionless. You feel a pulse of dread you don't immediately understand. You didn't own a dog. You never did. But this one matted fur, cloudy eyes, sits precisely on the edge of the porch, not guarding, waiting. Its head turns slowly toward the woods, then back to you. Then the spot beside the porch swing, a patch of earth darker than the rest. You step toward it. The dog doesn't flinch, doesn't growl. It just watches. You kneel. The soil is loose, but it shouldn't be. This land hasn't been touched since Ethan left. You dig, fingers cold, heartbeat distant. A few inches down, your fingernails scrape something unnatural. Plastic, a zippered pouch. Inside, a black and white photo, a motel receipt, a set of car keys you haven't seen in years, and at the bottom, a small cloth-wrapped object. You unwrap it slowly. It's a tooth, human. You drop it instinctively, but the dog doesn't move, still staring at the same patch of dirt, because it's not just where something was buried, it's where something was taken. You pick up the tooth. No blood, no decay, just a single initial carved crudely into the enamel E. Your breath catches, because Ethan never had dental work, but he did have that chipped incisor, the one he cracked the day you both chased down the man with the blue van, the day the girl went missing. You glance back at the dog, still there, still watching. It wasn't guarding anything. It was mourning. You knew, but pretended you didn't. Inside the cabin, the phone rings. You don't have a landline. You answer anyway. A voice, yours, but younger. You said we'd never talk about it again. You said the earth would forget. Click. You drop the receiver. It doesn't hit the floor. It vanishes. And on the wall, carved faintly into the wood paneling, as if by a child's finger, she remembered everything, even the way the dirt tasted. You stagger back. The photograph from the pouch falls to the ground. You pick it up. This time, the motel room is empty, except for the bed. And under the bed, just visible, a single eye, wide and watching. The time stamp, 13 a.m., 1 minute later than the watch. The moment everything shifted. Everyone lies, especially the ones who think animals can't sense guilt through 6 feet of soil. She texted you after the burial. You check your phone. No new messages, no service, but the lock screen shows a notification anyway. 1. Message received. 4:13 a.m. You open it. No contact name, just a number you don't recognize. The message reads, "I never made it out, but you brought part of me with you." You scroll down. There's an image attached. It loads slowly, like memory buffering. It's a photo of you taken from behind, your hands covered in dirt, kneeling over the same patch of earth the dog led you to. Except in this photo, the dog isn't there, and your shadow is split. One part stretches in front of you, the other reaches behind, longer, more human than it should be. You step back from the phone like it's venomous. It slips from your hands. The screen shatters, but the message remains, still glowing, still open. You pick it up with shaking fingers. Under the cracked glass, the photo starts to glitch, pixels warping like heat over asphalt. But one part holds steady, the bottom left corner, where a single red thread crosses your boot. You knew, but pretended you didn't. You walk to the sink to splash your face, needing cold, clarity, something tactile. But when you look up, there's a note on the bathroom mirror, written in steam, already fading. You buried evidence, but the story buried you. The water runs, Though you didn't turn it on, you shut it off, hard, then freeze, because the sound doesn't stop. It's not the faucet, it's beneath you, from the pipes, from the crawl space, from below, a tapping. 1, 2, pause. 1, 2, 3, then silence. Then it begins again. You grab the flashlight, head back to the basement. The concrete hole is deeper now. The watch sits on the edge again. This time it reads, Prostessen. You shine the light into the opening, and you see it. Not a hand, not a face, but a phone. Your phone, lit up, buzzing, resting at the bottom, but you're holding yours. You glance down. Your screen has gone black, battery full, dead anyway. You climb back upstairs. Something's changed. The photos on the table, all flipped face down, except for one, a photo you don't remember taking. You, in a motel room, room 209, sitting on the bed, face in hands, a woman's red scarf looped around your wrist. You look at your wrist now. It's bare, but it itches. You reach into your coat pocket and find a single item, soft, frayed, the red scarf, still damp, still warm. You knew, but pretended you didn't. Everyone lies, especially the ones who reply to messages sent from 6 feet under. The gloves still fit you pace the floorboards like they owe you answers. The scarf dangles from your wrist, heavier than fabric should be. You drape it over the chair, but it slithers off seconds later, landing on the table beside the photographs like it belongs in the arrangement. You watch it settle. Then you open the drawer beneath the kitchen sink, the drawer you swore you'd sealed. Inside is a plastic bag. Inside the bag, the gloves. Your gloves. Not the one with the red thread. Not hers. Yours. The pair you wore the night you went to the motel. The pair you tossed in the river with the rest of the lies. They're clean, pressed, folded like laundry. You pull them out slowly. No holes, no fray, no dirt. But on the inside of the right glove, you see it. A signature. Your own, written in permanent marker, but you never signed them. And beneath it, in smaller letters, found where the silence ends, you slide your hand inside one of the gloves. It fits perfectly. You try the second. It feels too tight, like someone else wore it first. The moment you pull your hand out, something slips free. A small slip of paper, folded tightly. You unfold it. One word, scrawled hastily. Return. You glance back toward the basement, then the table, then the wall behind you, where a mirror didn't used to be, but now is, framed in wood you recognize. The headboard from room 209. You approach it cautiously. It's old, fogged, but your reflection looks exactly the same. Except for one thing, it's not wearing gloves. You blink. The reflection doesn't. You tilt your head. It tilts the opposite direction, like it's been playing along and just got tired of pretending. You knew, but pretended you didn't. You lift the scarf again, hold it in front of the mirror. The reflection drops it, but it doesn't fall in your world, just vanishes. You spin around. It's back on the chair, tied now, into a noose. You stumble back, knocking the gloves from the table. One lands palm up, the other palm down, like a body, still, waiting. Then your phone buzzes. Not a ringtone, a notification. New contact, joined shared album, Branton Motel Memories. You swipe to open. First image you, leaning over the bed, a red glove in one hand, a spade in the other. Captioned, "We always said the truth would fit you eventually. Everyone lies, especially the ones who bury what already had their name on it." You wrote it down in your sleep. You wake up at the kitchen table, your head resting on a stack of yellow legal pads. You don't remember falling asleep. You don't remember owning legal pads, but your handwriting is everywhere. Line after line of words in a slanted scrawl you recognize but don't recall making. You flip to the first page. I didn't mean for her to choke. Your pulse drops into your stomach. The words are yours, but the phrasing, that's not how you remember it, because you've always remembered it as a struggle, an accident, a moment where you backed away. Not something active, you skim further. A sentence underlined 3 times. I buried the glove first to see if the earth would accept it. You check your hands. They're stained with ink and dirt. On the back of your left hand, faint pen marks. Wake of 4:13. You look at the watch. 4:14. Too late. You rise slowly, legs numb, the pads spilling to the floor like autumn leaves. The pages rustle with their own breath. You pick up a stray sheet near the fireplace. This one doesn't have writing, just a sketch, a crude, childlike drawing of the motel room. And in the center of the bed, a figure, faceless, with a red line for a mouth. On the back, 2 words, etched hard enough to tear the paper. Still here. You glance at the fireplace and notice the photograph taped to the bricks. New, centered. You standing over the grave behind the porch. But you never took that picture. And then you spot it at the very edge of the frame. A notebook, the yellow legal pad, resting on the dirt. The page torn, the ink bleeding. You knew, but pretended you didn't. Your phone buzzes again. No number. Just a subject line. Draft 3 of your confession is ready. Attached a PDF titled Warren Signed. Truth, Var 3. You open it. The first paragraph matches the note you found in the glove, word for word. The last paragraph, you've never seen it before, but it ends with, let the silence be my signature, and beneath it, your name, typed, signed, dated, tomorrow. The reflection in the dark microwave door watches you read. You blink. It doesn't. Everyone lies, especially the ones who forget they've been writing their guilt in their sleep. Room 209 wasn't on the floor plan. You make the call, not to anyone living, but to the county records office. You don't expect anyone to answer this late, but someone does. A woman, calm voice, too calm. You ask for the original floor plans of the Branton Motel. She pauses, then says, are you calling about room 209? You freeze. Yes, you say. I'm trying to verify if it wasn't supposed to exist. She interrupts. But the concrete remembers. The line goes dead. No static. Just gone. You check the call log. No outgoing call. No number dialed. You knew, but pretended you didn't. You turn to the bookshelf, to the fireproof box you haven't touched in years. Inside the insurance papers from the night of the fire, a few burned photos, a hand-drawn map of the motel layout, something you made during the investigation. You spread it out on the table. Rooms to 208, no 209. But in the margin, you find a smudge, circular, grease, no ink. You rub it gently. The smudge fades to lines. Lines become walls. Walls form a room. Room 209, drawn faintly, like it tried to disappear from the map but didn't quite succeed. It's not just forgotten, it's redacted. You dig deeper into the box and find a cassette labeled Branton Backroom Tapes. You never logged it. You never returned it. The recorder still sits on the counter. You press play. A woman's voice, hers. She's whispering, but not to the mic, to someone else, to you. You said if I stayed quiet, you'd fix it. You said the glove meant nothing, but you were wrong. The glove remembers. You rewind, play it again. This time, the voice is different. Your own, softer, regretful. She wasn't supposed to be there. I locked the door. I know I did. The room wasn't even. Click. Silence. You open the tape recorder. No tape inside. You look down. The gloves are back on the table, folded. A new note pinned to them. Return to room 209. You owe it. That much. The scarf now lies across the floor, trailing toward the door like a breadcrumb trail made of guilt. The mirror by the bookshelf has fogged again. You wipe it clean. Your reflection wears the gloves. You don't. Behind you, only in the mirror, is the door to room 209, numbered, lit, waiting. Everyone lies, especially the ones who try to erase a room with blueprints instead of closure. The mirror didn't reflect you right. You stand in front of the mirror longer than you should. It's not about vanity. It's about confession, about whether your reflection knows the truth better than you do. Because now the mirror is wrong. It's not just wearing the gloves, it's moving before you do. You tilt your head left, it moves right. You raise your hand, it raises the opposite one. You smile, it doesn't. You step closer. Your breath fogs the glass, but only on your side. And that's when you see it, something behind the reflection. A door, dark wood, brass number 209. Not in your room, not behind you, only behind it. The reflection lifts a hand, places it on the inside of the glass. You match it, palm to palm. Your hand feels uncool, slick. The mirror feels warm, like skin. Then something presses from behind the reflection. A second hand, smaller, a woman's hand. White glove, red thread. You stumble back. The mirror doesn't. It moves forward. A crack forms at the center of the glass, stretching outward like a web spun from lies. A high, whining pressure builds in your ears, like the air itself is trying to remember. And then the reflection speaks, but the mouth doesn't move. You lock the wrong door. The crack deepens, shards flake onto the floor, and through them, room 209 starts bleeding in peeling wallpaper, motel carpet, flickering fluorescence. You blink. You're still in your cabin, but the floor beneath you smells like bleach and old cigarettes. The scent of guilt, poorly mopped. You knew, but pretended you didn't. You reach for the glove on the floor. It's gone. In its place, a motel key, rusty, number engraved, 209. Attached to it, a note in a handwriting. If you won't come through the mirror, come through the truth. You pocket the key. The lights flicker. The mirror clears. Now it's just you, your own reflection. But one thing still doesn't match. In the mirror, your eyes are closed. Everyone lies, especially the ones who think mirrors only show what's in front of them, not what's coming. The floorboard knew the date. You follow the feeling, not the logic. Back to the bedroom, back to the loose board you never fixed, because some things aren't meant to stay sealed. You kneel beside the rug and peel it back. The floor groans like it's warning you. You wedge your fingers under the edge of the warped plank and lift. Beneath it, dust, splinters, the skeletons of spiders, and a date, carved carefully into the subfloor. April 13, 4:14 a.m. The exact minute the watch froze, the moment the photos were taken, the timestamp of the final message. You reach further down. There's something there. A journal, leather cover, warped from damp, but yours. Your name written in the corner. Detective Warren, evidence log private. You open it. The entries are erratic, chaotic, filled with crossed out names and hand scrawled drawings of the motel room from impossible angles. But one page is different, pristine, written in block letters. If found, do not read aloud. You read it anyway. It begins, "She came back on April 13th, not in body, but in truth. The motel door was locked. She opened it anyway. Said the truth doesn't wait for permission." You turn the page. It's blank until it bleeds through, words appearing as if rising from beneath the paper. You buried evidence. She buried memory. Now the ground's confused. You shut the journal, but your hands keep moving, like they remember something your mind doesn't. You walk to the dresser, bottom drawer, push past old shirts and a broken flashlight. Your fingers land on something smooth. You pull it free. A motel ledger from the Branton front desk. Charred edges. Inside, one name appears over and over again. Warren. E. Your name. Your brother's name. Your signature. Forged in both spaces. One night, two guests, but only one room. And under the column, checkout time. A smear of red ink. And the words, "Still waiting." You knew, but pretended you didn't. There's a knock at the door. Soft. Measured. Not fists. Fingertips. 3 taps. Then silence. You don't move. You don't breathe. And then, from the other side, a whisper. So faint, you can't tell if it's real. The door's always been unlocked. You just stopped trying it. You glance at the mirror in the hallway. Your reflection isn't there. Only the hallway behind you. And in it, a woman. White glove. Red thread. Waiting. Everyone lies. Especially the ones who carve reminders into the floor, hoping their future selves will finally confess. The room was still charging. Here's your card. You leave the house. You don't remember locking the door, but you must have, because when you glance back, the cabin looks sealed, silent, like it's holding its breath for someone else's return. You drive down the winding back roads that haven't changed in 20 years, past the billboard that still advertises Branton Motel, though the place was condemned after the fire. Only now, there's a fresh sticker slapped over the sign, now reopened under new memory. You don't stop driving. The GPS doesn't work. The sky looks the same in every direction, gray, indifferent. But you end up there anyway, at the charred lot where the motel should be gone, except it isn't. It's rebuilt, identical to the one that burned. The sign hums neon. Vacancy. Room 2U9 is waiting. You step out. The air smells like old ash and bad intentions. At the front desk, there's no clerk, just a bell. You press it once, twice, on the third. A receipt prints from a dusty machine. You pick it up. It's dated tomorrow. Billed to your credit card. Room 209. One guest. Checkout time when the truth speaks. You glance at the register. A key sits beside it. Same brass key. Same scratch tag. You take it. Walk the corridor. The carpet muffles your steps like it doesn't want the room to know you're coming. Room 209 waits at the end. The door's already open. Inside, untouched furniture. An old lamp flickering. A bedspread in the exact pattern you remember trying to forget. The room hums with that awful stillness, the kind that settles after someone screams. You enter, sit on the edge of the bed, and find your wallet on the nightstand. Inside it, a photograph of her, smiling, wearing your coat. You don't remember lending it to her. You flip it over, handwriting hers. Thanks for the alibi. I kept the part that bled. You freeze, because the wallet, it's damp, not with water, with blood. You check your hands. Clean. You check the photo again. Now she's not smiling. Now she's looking at you. And now your reflection in the dark TV screen isn't seated. It's standing behind you, wearing gloves, wearing her smile. You knew, but pretended you didn't. Everyone lies, especially the ones who never checked out. Even after the flames went out, she booked the room in your name. You don't sleep. You sit on the motel bed as time stretches, bends, then circles back. 13, blinking on the old digital clock like a metronome of guilt. Outside, the hallway is silent. Inside, the air is thick, like the room is exhaling memories too old to hold. You check your phone again. No bars, but the screen glows. A reservation confirmation. Guest E. Warren. Room 209. Paid in full. You didn't book it. You didn't come here willingly, but here you are. And then you notice the envelope on the dresser. You didn't put it there. It's sealed with red wax, an old-fashioned touch that smells like smoke and roses. Inside a contract, typed, legal format, title, reinstatement of memory. Your name at the bottom, pre-signed. You didn't write this, but the signature, it's yours. And beside it, hers, initials only, a red smudge. You flip the page. There's a photo paper-clipped to the back. You, in room 209, holding the gloves, smiling. Captioned, we agreed. I take the silence. You take the truth. You knew, but pretended you didn't. You check the dresser drawers, empty except for a guest book. You open it. Names, dates, room numbers, all scribbled in familiar handwriting, most scratched out, except one. Yours, repeated, dozens of times. Each line ends with the same comment, still staying. You flip to the back page, blank until words begin to appear in real time, writing themselves in ink as if from an invisible hand. You returned. That's all it takes. Now finish what we buried. You drop the book. The lamp flickers. The mirror across the room trembles, not shakes, trembles. Like something is breathing behind it. You approach. The wallpaper around it is peeling, revealing more numbers, more carvings, all read 209. In the mirror, your reflection is missing, but you're not alone. She's there, behind the glass, behind you. Wearing the red thread glove, she raises a hand, points downward. You look. The rug has shifted, revealing a trapdoor in a motel room that shouldn't have basements. You kneel, and when your fingers reach the handle, the room hums like it's remembering something. It tried hard to forget. Everyone lies, especially the ones who sign contracts written in grief and sleep in rooms that don't exist anymore. The basement wasn't part of construction. You lift the trapdoor. A breath of cold air rushes out, sour with mildew and something older. There are stairs, but they're wrong. Stone, not concrete. Hand-carved, leading down into a space that shouldn't be under a motel built in the 80s. You descend. The air thickens, warmer than it should be. Moist, breathing. You count the steps, 13, then a pause, then 13 more. A pattern. Your flashlight flickers. You don't remember turning it on. You reach the bottom. The floor is earthen, muddy, soft, groaning under each step. The space opens wide, larger than the building above, like the room dug itself out. The walls are covered in newspaper clippings, old crime scene photos, guest signatures on torn receipts, all pinned to the dirt like a shrine of forgotten truths. At the center, a table, and on the table, your badge, tarnished, cracked. You haven't seen it in 15 years. Beside it, a case file, stamped in red, unresolved E. Warren disappearance. You open it. There's no mention of her. Just you. As if the case had flipped. You were never the investigator. You were always the missing piece. You knew, but pretended you didn't. The final page is blank, but when your fingers graze the edge, blood wells up from the paper. Words form. Still time to confess, but not to them. To yourself. You drop the file. Step back. The mud beneath you ripples. You shine your flashlight down and see something moving beneath the surface. A shape. A hand. Gloved. It rises slowly, gripping a cassette. You reach for it. The tape's label is your handwriting, but upside down. Play if found. There's no player, but when you hold it near your chest, it clicks like your ribs are a machine that knows what comes next. You hear the voice before the tape turns. You said we'd forget, but you forgot that guilt grows roots. Then she was never under the dirt. You were. The light flickers, goes out, silence. Then one last whisper in the dark. Room 209 was never a place. It was a sentence. You scramble back up the stairs. Each one feels longer than the last. By the time you reach the top, you're breathless. The trapdoor slams shut behind you. The motel room is gone. You're back in your cabin, or some version of it. But the bedspread is patterned like room 209. The lamp hums the same static. The clock reads 4:13 again. Everyone lies, especially the ones who build basements under rooms that were never real, just heavy with truth. Her favorite song played from the walls. You wake to music, faint, warbling through the walls, like a memory being hummed by the house itself. A woman's voice, vinyl static, an old torch song. You recognize it immediately. Her song, the one she used to sing under her breath when you thought she wasn't watching you, when you thought she didn't know what you were hiding. You sit up. The room is spinning in place, not fast, just wrong. The song plays louder. I'll wait in the silence till the dirt forgets. You scan for a source. The radio in the corner is unplugged, still glowing, still playing. You pull the cord from the floor, hold it in your hand. The music doesn't stop. You knew, but pretended you didn't. You press your palms to the wall. It's warm. Then, beneath the melody, you hear something else, scratching, deliberate, rhythmic, like a fingernail tracing the lines of old wallpaper. You put your ear to the wall. Are you finally listening? The voice slithers through the plaster. You pull back. The wallpaper begins to curl away on its own, slowly revealing another layer beneath. A familiar image emerges, a mural, painted directly onto the wall of room 209, accurate to every detail, except there's a new addition, you, standing at the foot of the bed, back turned, and above your head, a speech bubble painted in crimson red. I only buried the part I couldn't name. You step back. The music skips, repeats, till the dirt forgets. Till the dirt forgets. You rip the wallpaper fully. Behind it, the words are scrawled over and over in uneven lines. She didn't die. She remembered. She didn't die. She remembered. She didn't. The lamp bursts. Glass parades across the room like frozen guilt. You don't flinch. You check the drawer under the bed. Inside a ring box, you open it. No ring, just a dried red thread curled into a spiral. You lift it. Beneath it, a motel matchbook. Branton Motel, room 909. You flip it open. Inside, instead of matches, a note. Meet me where the music ends. The song on the wall slows. The last line echoes. I'll wait in the silence. Then silence. You hear it clearly now. The heartbeat of the house. Not yours, hers. Everyone lies, especially the ones who think memory fades when the walls start singing back. Her favorite song played from the walls. You wake to music, faint, wobbling through the walls like a memory being hummed by the house itself. A woman's voice, vinyl static, an old torch song. You recognize it immediately. Her song, the one she used to sing under her breath when you thought she wasn't watching you, when you thought she didn't know what you were hiding. You sit up. The room is spinning in place. Not fast, just wrong. The song plays louder. I'll wait in the silence till the dirt forgets. You scan for a source. The radio in the corner is unplugged, still glowing, still playing. You pull the cord from the floor, hold it in your hand. The music doesn't stop. You knew, but pretended you didn't. You press your palms to the wall. It's warm. Then beneath the melody, you hear something else, scratching, deliberate, rhythmic, like a fingernail tracing the lines of old wallpaper. You put your ear to the wall. Are you finally listening? The voice slithers through the plaster. You pull back. The wallpaper begins to curl away on its own, slowly revealing another layer beneath. A familiar image emerges, a mural painted directly onto the wall of room 209, accurate to every detail, except there's a new addition. You, standing at the foot of the bed, back turned, and above your head, a speech bubble painted in crimson red. I only buried the part I couldn't name. You step back, the music skips, repeats, till the dirt forgets, till the dirt forgets. You rip the wallpaper fully. Behind it, the words are scrawled over and over in uneven lines. She didn't die. She remembered. She didn't die. She remembered. She didn't. The lamp bursts. Glass sprays across the room like frozen guilt. You don't flinch. You check the drawer under the bed. Inside a ring box. You open it. No ring, just a dried red thread curled into a spiral. You lift it. Beneath it, a motel matchbook. Branton Motel, room 209. You flip it open. Inside, instead of matches, a note. Meet me where the music ends. The song on the wall slows. The last line echoes. I'll wait in the silence. Then silence. You hear it clearly now. The heartbeat of the house. Not yours. Hers. Everyone lies. Especially the ones who think memory fades when the walls start singing back. The alibi had a second author. You sit on the edge of the bed in room 209, legal pad in hand. The air vibrates like a taut wire strung between two lies. The smoke doesn't rise, it hangs, suspended, like it's listening. You flip through the previous pages. Some are blank, some are inked with shaky confessions, and some aren't in your handwriting. You pause at a page near the middle. It's clean, ordered, precise script, not yours. The heading reads, Amendment to Alibi, filed in absence of Warren. You read on. He said he left at 2:14. I know he didn't. I saw him. I saw him go back. You turn the page. A diagram follows. A floor plan. The motel. The basement. The room. Each exit marked. Each re-entry time-stamped. You. Every motion logged. Every lie mapped. Another entry. He told me to wait in the car. I didn't. I went inside. He doesn't know I saw her alive. The word alive is underlined. Twice. You knew, but pretended you didn't. The next page has a time signature. 4:13 a.m. The handwriting changes again. Back to yours, but rushed, tilted, almost manic. It was supposed to be one fire, one clean cut, no smoke, but she coughed. Another line. If I say it wasn't murder, is it still guilt? You hear something then, not in the room, in the wall, typing, not fast, but constant, like someone recording everything as you read. You glance toward the mirror. Now it's a window, and on the other side, an old desk, typewriter, a woman seated. She looks familiar. Her hand is bandaged in red thread. She's typing what you just read, word for word. She stops, looks up, meets your eyes. She nods, check the drawer. You open the nightstand. Inside, two things: a cassette labeled Final Draft and a burned USB stick, melted to its core. The cassette hisses. No player required. You hear your own voice. If you're hearing this, it means I lied to both of us. Then hers. You can't write an ending to something you won't admit started. The lamp flickers. The room dims. The typewriter behind the mirror stops. The woman stands, walks out of frame, and appears in the reflection in your TV. Only now, she's sitting next to you. Same red thread, same gloves, same words. Room 209 never needed a killer. Just a story that wouldn't end. Everyone lies, especially the ones who need a second author to co-sign their innocence. The ending was dated weeks before the crime. You flip to the final page of the legal pad. There, scribbled in the corner in ink that looks too dry to be fresh, too fresh to be old end, signed March 26. You freeze, because that's 3 weeks before the body was ever found, before the fire, before the questions, before you claimed to be anywhere else. You knew, but pretended you didn't. The timeline just cracked, not gently, violently, because this ending was written before the story even happened, before you told anyone what accidentally meant, before she disappeared. You rise from the bed, but it feels like the room tilts. The lamp spins, the window shutters shake, then the phone rings, the rotary phone on the wall. You don't want to answer it. You do anyway. It clicks once, then a voice not hers, not yours, a recording. This is confirmation of your time-stamped testimony. By continuing, you forfeit your right to forget. Then a pause. Then, please press 2 to agree to relive the truth in sequence. You don't press anything, but the tape rewinds itself. The cassette in your hand hums warm, then hot. You drop it. It doesn't hit the floor. It vanishes, like it was never real, like it was only ever a memory trying to force its way into narrative. The TV turns on, black and white footage, a motel hallway, your silhouette walking toward room 209. Then again, and again. Each time the figure is slightly more bent, slightly more unsure. By the 12th loop, you're crawling. The 13th, you're gone. Just her, standing at the door, holding a pen, writing something on the wall beside the doorframe. You squint. She's writing a date, March 26th, the same date as the final page. You feel your pulse in your teeth now. On the floor near the door, a stack of matchbooks has appeared. Dozens, identical, each labeled with your name, her initials, and a new date, all in the future, all dates you don't remember living. You lift the top one, flip it open. Inside, this never ends, just resets. You slam the door shut, but room 209 has no lock. It never did. You pace, you mutter to yourself, then you see it. On the legal pad, new handwriting, while your back was turned. One line: you didn't bury the evidence, you buried the ending. Everyone lies, especially the ones who write their confessions before the crime has even been committed. Her last words were written in your hand. The room feels smaller, not physically, existentially, like it's folding in on itself. one scene overwritten by another, until even the wallpaper begins to glitch like a memory that's been too heavily edited. You sit back down because standing doesn't change the facts, and neither does running. You pull the legal pad into your lap. Only now, it's not blank, it's filled, cover to cover, in your handwriting, but you haven't written a word. Each page retells a scene you lived, some that happened, some that didn't, some that feel half dreamed. She's on every page, never the same way twice. A witness, a victim, a liar, a mirror. You knew, but pretended you didn't. You flip to the final page. There's one sentence scrawled at the top. Her last words were written in your hand. Below that, nothing until you pick up the pen, resting beside the lamp. The moment you touch it, the wall across the room begins to crack. A thin line running ceiling to floor. The TV turns on again. This time, it's a freeze frame, a still image of you, seated in this exact room, writing, captioned, evidence recovered. You place the pen to paper, and the room inhales. You don't write words, the words write you. You find yourself scrawling letters you don't recognize until you've finished, and then the message is complete. I was never trying to forget. I just didn't want you to remember. The pen drops, rolls off the desk. The crack in the wall bursts open like a mouth. Inside light, white, raw, searing. You stand, walk to the breach. It's not a passage, it's a page, a blank one, and at the center of it, a single glove, clean, untouched, still smelling of the motel air. You kneel, pick it up. Inside the lining, stitched in red thread, you are not done. The bed behind you dissolves into smoke. The lamp sparks, then shatters. The TV screen reads, "Checkout denied. Pending confession." You don't panic. You sit. You place the glove on the table. Then you press your palm against the legal pad one last time. The pages turn without wind, stop on a middle chapter, and begin to erase themselves, line by line, scene by scene, until you are left with nothing but this: everyone lies, especially the ones who forget that the dead don't forget. You breathe in the smoke, close your eyes, and somewhere a motel bell rings. The motel fades, not in flames, not in sound, just in memory, like it was never built of walls and keys and room numbers, but of guilt layered on denial, sealed with thread, and lit with a single match you never meant to strike. You step outside maybe. There is no door now, no lock, only fog. Soft, low, whispering your name in a voice that sounds like hers, but older, calmer. You keep walking, past the truth, past the endings, into the middle of everything you forgot on purpose. And there, beneath a flickering street lamp that hums the final notes of a song, you find the glove again, resting on a bench, waiting. But this time, it fits your hand. You slide it on, not to hide, to remember. The air shifts, the sky darkens a little more, and you realize the motel never burned down. It just moved, like guilt, like stories, like you. So you keep walking, hand gloved, past the cracked mirror, someone left leaning against the side of the road. You glance at it, no reflection, just an open page, blank, waiting. Maybe it's for someone else. Maybe it's always been for you. You breathe, one last deep pull of smoky night air, and exhale a truth that never asked to be spoken. It was never about justice. It was never about closure. It was always about remembrance. The evidence didn't stay buried. It was you who did. And the past. The past just had a better memory than you did. End of script. Sleep well and watch your back.